Carlee? Where were you for those 49 hours, Carlee? Carlee, where were you for those 49 hours? Do you have anything to say to the community for lying to the community? Everyone was national TV. Why did you lie on national TV?
Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, you remember Carlee Russell, right? Yeah. If you don't know about her case, just pause this and go to the playlist and you see several videos on her case. She pulled a kidnapping hoax somewhere mid-July in 2023, and the details of it are just astonishing. So, fast forward. As at a few hours ago, Carlee Russell has been found guilty of pulling that kidnapping hoax. Initially, she pleaded not guilty to both counts that were being leveled against her. One count for false reporting to law enforcement authorities and another count for falsely reporting an incident. She pleaded not guilty to both of these issues initially, and unfortunately for her, the judge still ended up finding her guilty of both charges. Now, per this, the state is recommending a 1-year jail term and also $18,000 in restitution. If you ask me, I think this is a fair deal given the extent to which her hoax shook the foundations of the country and to an extent other parts of the world as well. I'm here in Ghana and I was really almost traumatized by this case when it broke. And to talk about how it affected other families whose family members and loved ones in one way or the other have been victims of such horrendous kidnappings and even some extended to murders, I think that having to serve a 1-year jail term and pay a restitution of $18,000 is not too much to ask. But then, there's a twist, because obviously Carlee Russell also has legal representation, and by virtue of that, her legal representation is also trying to take a different route to beat this case, or at least minimize what will be meted out against Carlee Russell. Now, Carlee Russell arrived at the court premises flanked by her attorney and her family members, and this was the first time she was making her court appearance amid heavy media presence. According to her defense attorney, Richard Jaff or Jaffe, depending on how people pronounce it, he had said in a telephone interview that they do not really think that the jail time is appropriate. Really? I think it's appropriate. Well, I'm no legal person, but as a citizen, irrespective of not being a citizen of America, as a human being, having to go through that trauma, and especially on behalf of the citizens of America who may have suffered trauma in one way or the other, I think that Carlee Russell has to do the jail time. And I think it's appropriate. That is my opinion though. But he went on to say that they agreed to an arrangement called stipulate and appeal. And this arrangement, according to him, it's a court agreement in which a defendant acknowledges the evidence leveled against them, a guilty decision is then entered, and the case is appealed to the circuit court. So based on this, he went on to say that they have requested a jury trial, and that they did so because it will give them an opportunity between now and then for them to explore all of their options and to try to work something out with the prosecution, which would not involve jail time, but might involve a fair restitution amount. Well, if you ask me, I think that any agreement they reach without jail time wouldn't amount to a fair restitution. That is my opinion. Because I think the jail time is what will really bite. As for the money, $18,000 as that restitution alone, and any other form of punishment outside of jail time, I don't think that would really send the message home. Because mind you, others are also watching. It is not just about what the defense attorneys would agree on with the prosecution, but it's also about the people out there who are watching, the people who are traumatized, and also bear in mind people who might have intentions of also pulling such kidnapping hoaxes to further traumatize such people. So I think that an example needs to be set. Already, Sherry Papini has pulled this in 2016, and she got to serve about 18 months in prison. She was recently released. So Carlee Russell cannot be the exception. I don't think so. And no matter how good her lawyers are, I'm counting on justice to take a firm stand and not be lenient, because I think that this is too much. If you look at the magnitude of effort that went into this when people were searching for her thinking she was actually kidnapped, and the role she played in facilitating all that, I don't think that she needs to be let off the hook with a so-called agreement or stipulate or whatever. I think that she needs to serve whatever sentence the law has put in place for such instances. Now, I think also that taking this case to the full extent of its time and pulling up every form of leverage that the prosecution can pull to drive the point home would also make that emphatic statement to anybody out there considering something like this, that it's a no-no. You can't do this, because what do you gain from it? You might have gained some popularity and all, but at what expense? And at whose expense? Obviously, it's at the expense of other people. Some people might get traumatized because of this, and the most painful part of this is when she pulled that fake disappearance. You had some family members of previous victims of kidnappings, which even went on to become murders, joining in the search out of solidarity, out of empathy, strongly believing that this lady was missing and they need to help find her because they've suffered this before and they don't want her family and loved ones to go through that. That is how some people were manipulated by this lady's actions, and I don't think that it has to be reduced to whatever her defense is suggesting. I respect their opinion, I respect the legal process, but I think that the prosecution should be unrelenting in their pursuit for the full force of the law to take its effect. What do you think? If you agree with me, let me know in the comment section. Do you think that they have to agree to something when they get to the full jury and all? Or do you think that they have to sort of reach a compromise? If you also think so, let me know in the comment section. But I have made my stance clear. I don't think that she needs to be let off the hook in that manner. It would embolden people to try same, and it would also, to an extent, be a letdown to the people who were fooled, so to speak, by what she pulled. And I'm waiting to see how this will go. If the jury is actually constituted, I'm also waiting to see how they will be swayed. I'm waiting to see what the jury's verdict will be and what their reasons will be. These are interesting days ahead. And if you look at Carlee Russell's demeanor coming to the courtroom, for me, I didn't see anything about remorse. I didn't see anything also about her being unremorseful. I couldn't really put a read on her. The only read I saw is somebody who is poised and ready to go through whatever she has to go through, at least for now. I'm waiting to see how that posture would either change or improve as the case travels along the direction that her defense attorneys are now trying to push it in. Until then, our fingers are crossed and we are looking at the American justice system to see how this will play out. As a matter of fact, there are people advocating that even the current sentence or punishment for such kidnapping hoaxes is actually not sufficient to be enough of a deterrence. There are people proposing that the sanctions or the punishments should be increased and made more harsher and stiffer. Do you agree to that too? I agree, because I just don't get it. Of all the problems in the world, all the problems and challenges people are dealing with on a daily basis, why would you be the person deciding to wake up and just lie to people that you've been kidnapped and fake it, only for resources of law enforcement to be diverted to finding you, the public praying for you, joining in hands searches? What do you gain? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just causing fear and panic. So for me, I agree that a harsher sentence should be in place. But hey, I'm not the lawmaker. I'm just sharing my opinion. So let's see how this goes. And I'm following the case, as usual. And when there are updates, trust you me, I'm going to bring them to you. Until then, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and if you want to find out more about my country, Ghana, just go to the description. You'll see a link to my other YouTube channel called Welcome to Ghana, which showcases all the beautiful parts of my beautiful country in Africa called Ghana. Enjoy, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'll catch you next time. See ya.